If it isn't an international tournament, then international football is an absolute snooze fest. A boring and very long couple of weeks ahead. Hey guys, Fletch here, bringing you another Fletch Talks video. Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another Fletch Talks video. You know the drill by now. This is where I take a trending topic or a topic of interest within the world of football. I bring it here where we talk about it, we discuss it, and we may even debate about said topic. And today's topic is going to be centering around the England national side, the international break. Before we go any further though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get on with talking about the video. Let's go on with talking about England and the international break. Yes, it is that time of the season again where the international break is upon us. Football switches gears from a club level to an international level. Over the next couple of weeks, players will be meeting up with their fellow countrymen with the World Cup qualifiers for 2022 in Qatar. Yep, I don't understand why it's still being played in Qatar. What's that? Oh, because of money. Okay, I get you now. I understand why it's still being held in Qatar. It's all about the dollar, or whatever currency they use in Qatar. Anyway, yeah, the 2022 World Cup qualifiers begin this week, and as the next road to the World Cup begins, obviously England will once again be involved. They'll once again be competing to be involved in next year's tournament in order to qualify. But to get there though, they'll have to go through the likes of Albania, Andorra, Hungary, Poland, and arguably the most difficult team that they will have to face in their group, the ever mighty and ever dangerous San Marino. San Marino. Yeah, they are all in England's group. They will all be standing in England's way to qualify for Qatar next year. And now, joking aside, even Gareth Southgate, England manager, even he should be able to navigate his way through this group with very little issue, you'd think. England should, on paper at least, top their group and come out of this pretty much unscathed, maybe even completely unbeaten. I'm not saying obviously a 100% win record, but at least unbeaten, go top of their league and qualify with ease. Obviously I said San Marino, arguably a very dangerous side, but of course I was joking. And that Poland are arguably going to be England's toughest opponents in the group stage, but they still should beat them with very little problem. And whilst, of course, Gareth Southgate may have one eye on the World Cup qualifiers and who's coming up there, of course, a diversion will take place this summer when, of course, the Euros are coming up. The Euros that will take place this summer act as a bit of a distraction from these World Cup qualifiers. And it means that over the coming year and a half, there's going to be a lot of international football that's going to be crammed in to these international breaks away from club football. So you've got that to look forward to. I'm sorry, I forgot the quotation marks. That to look forward to. I'd like to point out that I'm not exactly a massive fan of international football, as you could probably tell by the sarcasm and by the way that I've put words into this video so far. I will watch the major tournaments, of course I will. Of course I will watch the major tournaments because they're a spectacle. It makes this level of football feel special, and it goes on to highlight some of the incredible talent that we see week in, week out at club level. And not just on that level, but also it acts as a gateway, I think, for some talent and for some quality from somewhere else, from some less or completely unknown player out there to really burst onto the scene. So it does act as a sort of a gateway for that, and a good level and a good indicator of how good the talent is out there on other levels and in other countries and stuff. However, when it comes to the qualifying stages, and not just the World Cup, but also of the Euro Championships as well, I simply cannot be bothered with it all. Like, I understand the whole follow your team thing, or in this case, a nation. Follow them through everything, follow them through thick and thin. You can't just turn up and support the team when it matters in a major tournament. You can't just pick and choose when you decide to support someone, and I completely 100% get that. It's like being the guy to take all the credit in a group project despite being absent for the entire process of its creation and only turning up for the presentation of it and taking all the credit. But being from England, watching this team have to go through the sort of teams that England's 4th and 5th tier side should be able to beat, to me, it's a complete waste of time. Which is why I'll even casually cast my eye over some of the other international games and other international squads, or just not bother with football at all for the next couple of weeks. Either one or the other, basically. And I say this because, and I mean this in no disrespect intended, but teams like San Marino, I mean, come on, what is the point of playing a team like San Marino? I don't remember the last time they won. I do remember that they drew back-to-back games last year and it busted my acca and my bets got ruined in that sense. But yeah, eventually probability does seemingly suggest that eventually San Marino will get a result, or in this case 2 results like that eventually. But overall, they don't pose a threat. You're not going to see them in a major tournament because they don't have the players, the quality, the consistent form to get to a major tournament across a whole qualifying section of what is going to be happening and beginning again this week. They simply are there to make up the numbers. Maybe at least give them a chance by putting them with teams of a similar stature, a similar position within the world rankings or something. But ultimately, they are never going to pose a threat to teams like England, or even some of the teams that are even in England's group right now. That's just to isolate England's group as one example. I'm sure across the entire board of European group qualifiers, I'm sure there'll be a lot of other teams like that as well. You're looking at the big teams, your France's, your Germany's, Spain's, Italy's, so on and so forth. And it's sad because England do genuinely have a solid team developing right now. The goalkeepers are okay. The right-back situation is full of options and quality. Centre-back's a little hit and miss, I give you. It can be good, it can be bad. It depends what kind of combination you have there, I guess. Left-back's got a couple of good options developing, but really, it's the midfield, the wing positions, and the attacking force that have got people really excited about England. And it seems to be that there are a lot of strong, exciting, and talented players that are developing who have the ability and the quality to be known as very good players today, with the possibility of further improvement and development in the future to make them even better, because most of them are still relatively in their early to mid-20s. Looking at the squad can cause many England fans to feel somewhat optimistic about future tournaments. Some bookmakers have even already gone as far as to say that England are one of the favourites to win the Euros this summer. And yes, they may have a great squad, but that is building and developing and could be for the now. Definitely could be for the future. But what about the mastermind behind that team? What about the manager? It's one thing to have the band, but if you don't have the right orchestrator or composer, you won't be able to get a good tune out of them. And in this situation, the man taking that role as the manager, orchestrator, composer, however you want to phrase it, is one Gareth Southgate. It could be another case of history repeating itself. England have been in this situation before where during the early to mid-2000s, England's golden generation was managed by Sven-Göran Eriksson. Many question why a team full of very talented and high-quality individuals never won anything. The likes of Gary Neville, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Ashley Cole, Steven Gerrard, Paul Scholes, David Beckham, Frank Lampard, Wayne Rooney, Michael Owen, all combined to make one hell of an exciting and incredible team, but they never won anything. And the question was why? And to me, the answer is very simple. Because of the manager. He couldn't get a team full of superstars to play as a unit, to play together. And that's why England never won anything, despite arguably on paper having the team to go on and do so. England, like I say, could be in a very similar situation again, as to me, Gareth Southgate divides opinion over whether he's the right man to lead the England team right now. He took charge of the national team in late 2016, led them to the World Cup in 2018, where of course England were knocked out in the semi-final, and has continued to be in charge ever since. For me, the summer of 2018, from a personal point of view, was very good. I very much enjoyed it. But from a footballing point of view, it only added to the occasion. And from that footballing point of view of around the country, it was nice to see England go as far as they did. And from where I was, it added to that occasion. And around the country, it added to the whole feel-good factor of the country at the time, where everybody was in beer gardens and going wild every time England scored, and everyone was enjoying the weather as well as the spectacle that was the World Cup. But in hindsight, that run to the semi-final should have happened anyway. Granted, you can only beat what is in front of you, and yet England managed to do so. They got past the group stages. They beat Colombia in the round of 16 stage on penalties. They went on to beat Sweden in the quarterfinals before being knocked out by Croatia in the semi-finals. But let's be honest, with the England team that they have, beating the teams they did should have happened and should have been a formality for them. And then when they face teams that were of a similar or better level to them, you're looking at Belgium in the group stages, as well as that third place playoff, and obviously Croatia in the semi-finals. England crumbled. But hey, at least waistcoats became the must-have fashion trend of the 2018 summer, right? Along with what's happened where the England team has met another team, it's also been a case of receiving criticism and critique by other people, fans alike, people like me, and other pundits and so on and so forth, over the course of Southgate's reign as manager, over his team selection. The main areas appear to be goalkeeper, where he seems to prefer Jordan Pickford for his distribution rather than, you know, doing what a goalkeeper should do, which is being consistent and keeping the ball at the back of the net, apparently. His constant love for Mason Mount, where, yeah, Mason Mount is a very talented and great footballer, but playing him over the likes of maybe Jack Grealish, who's having an incredible campaign this season, although currently injured, is just baffling to me. And also his love for England's right backs. It's no secret that England have plenty of options of right back in that area. You know, you look at the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Reece James, Kyle Walker, Kieran Trippier, and so on. And it would seem that if Southgate could completely have his way without facing a lot of backlash, he would have a starting 11 that consisted of Pickford, 8 right backs, and then Mason Mount alongside Harry Kane. It's not a bad team, I guess. Joking aside, in my personal opinion, Southgate is, to me, an average manager who's made some questionable decisions, but ultimately is doubtful over whether he's the right man for the job of leading England to success, especially with this current team that, you know, really should be winning something. On paper, this is a team bursting with quality, and it's providing a lot of selection headaches. And it's a video that I want to bring out this week over what is, I believe, to be England's best 11, because there are so many options and ways you can go about providing a starting 11 that I want to explore that a little bit more. I'm firmly of the belief that a national side should have a manager of the same nationality. England managers should all be English. Portuguese managers should be Portuguese. Argentinian managers should be Argentinian, and so on and so forth. But England's pool of English managers right now, I don't believe is that deep. I don't believe is that deep with history, with talent, or pedigree. But there are a few young English managers that are coming through, and that should be, and that possibly might be interested in taking that role in the future. I'm looking at the likes of Steven Gerrard, Scott Parker, Eddie Howe, all good and upcoming managers that with maybe some further development and maybe when Southgate's time has passed, may take interest in the idea of leading this England team into a new era, a new golden generation, and maybe a new era of actually winning something. They all spring to mind instantly, and if Southgate is at the top of that list, so to speak, right now, which of course he is because he's the national side's manager, I reckon it's time we perhaps looked at the way that we are developing these England managers and attempted some sort of improvement on this situation, because like I say, to me, Southgate is just average. And that may be harsh, but that's just my opinion. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, and opinions of this guy. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. What do you make of international football? What do you make of the England team? Who do you follow? Who do you support during these times? I'd like to know everything about your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call them, on English football, on international football, down below in the comment section. I'm sure they'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I will see and speak with you all again soon in another video.